Good morning. This is Morten from INKISH TV, and today this is my first over the Skype interview today. I have a couple more lined up, and I'm very happy because I'm going to talk to Christoph Gamper, who is CEO and co-owner of Durst. The ones that do these really nice inkjet machines for a lot of different applications. So we're going to Italy. So this time. It will be very exciting to hear how things are going in Italy. So, Christoph, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit and then give us a very short update on the coronavirus situation in Italy?
Okay, I'm Christoph Gamper. I'm running Durst, basically, co-owner of Durst. So we're a family company. We're two guys, more or less same age, running it now since more than 10 years together. We have a tradition for over 80 years. And yes, we do some really nice inkjet machines in different markets. As you said, welcome to Italy as well. I mean, you all know that we have been hit quite hard in the Corona crisis.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we couldn't produce for a long time. I voluntarily closed the company down when we had the first signs because I thought I need to protect my guys, and I did. So for 3 weeks, they didn't produce at all. But then customers called us back to work, especially for pharmaceutical and label applications. And now we did some extension with protective masks for the community, not so much to make money, but just to provide.
Yeah.
So I have about 25% of my workforce back in the factory, and yes, you're in my office factory.
Yeah. And where in Italy are your headquarters located?
This is in Brixen, South Tyrol, so we're the German-speaking part of Italy. Very, very strange, but that's the first thing. If you come from the Brenner, you see from Italy is a German-speaking region, and Brixen is like the heart of it, or like a little bit like the heart of it. Yeah, let's say.
And how have the coronavirus affected your area a lot as well, or is it more closer to Milan and that area?
No, we are fortunately a little bit further away from Milan, so we had later the cases. We're not hit that hard, but we have a lot of deaths as well, obviously. But it's the trend is now already turning around. So you see it. If you would have called me 2 weeks ago, I was really worrying a lot more. So we're seeing already, at least we're seeing it goes in the right direction.
Yeah.
No idea when this thing will be over, but we're positive.
Yeah, being a manufacturer like yourself, and I guess that you're very dependent on having a constant revenue and also a constant development, but otherwise you can lose to the market. So how is that something that you can continue to do while in this lockdown mode?
Yeah, when even in lockdown mode, we already prepared last year to be able to develop from homes. So all our IT infrastructure is made that my developers can go on whatever happens. They don't have to come here, only when they have to work on prototypes. But even there with digital things, you can work a lot on the digital prototype. So this is the part we really never stopped. I mean, whatever is innovation, we didn't stop it. And but now, we're all really, really keen to go into the factory as well to work on the real prototypes and get the things to life.
I think that everybody, I just spoke to my kids this morning and they were like, oh, can we get to school? Can we get to work? Everybody just wants to get back to normal, right? So, Christoph, when you look at Durst, I have a few things I would like to talk to you about, but before we talk about it, can you explain a little bit what market is it that you specifically addressing? Because you have developed. I mean, as you said, you have an 80-year background from is it from cameras and from processing and all these kind of things that you have done in the past, and then you moved into inkjet. Can you tell a little bit about your story and what kind of value proposition you see from Durst?
No, it goes back to camera manufacturing, or to replication, to be more accurate. It wasn't really camera. The first things we did were machines for postcards, then cameras, then replicators. So a lot of different things, always photography connected. So if you want, so the heart of Durst is connected to image quality. Yeah. So we were known as doing the highest possible quality in reproducing images and encapsulating images. That's where it came for. It was two brothers founded it. A third guy helped the two brothers financially to get it up and running. The two brothers are out and their families are out of the business. There's been some very unfortunate things going on, but the first part is still in and still the main shareholder of Durst. In this history, as I said, we went from doing, if you want to call it photography stuff for end customers, then moving on from end customer, because in the 50s, late 50s, Japan started to do cameras, and this was very difficult to compete from here to there. I mean, situations repeat always themselves, and this was a situation like this. So we moved on to professional labs, and I mean, then at a certain point, about 20 years ago, probably already, we came up with the Lambda, and the Lambda was the first device with laser to photo paper, and it was a tremendous success. A lot of people said this is never going to work out, but it worked out, and until today we're selling spare parts for this thing. Until today,
really? Okay.
There are some art collections which are still today printed on Lambdas. This was the entrance in the digital world. And from there, we started then with inkjet quite early.
Yeah, it's funny because when you look at some of the really successful companies in the printing, and you see people comes from the photo side, right? Like Fujifilm is an example. Your, I guess, competitor Screen is also from the photo repro side and things like that. So it seems that it has a natural development going from high image quality like you used for on photos to mass production of things. When I looked at your website in preparation for this interview, I was, of course I know about Durst and I've seen you at multiple events and things like that. But what I was a little bit surprised about was that you have like so many targeted applications, that you have ceramics, you have textile, you have labels, you have corrugated, and so is that because that was like a demand from the market that made you go into that direction, or was it more like a strategic decision some time ago?
It was strategic development. I mean, the first thing we did obviously was large format applications. And I mean, for the large format applications, we have seen there is potential in the industrial markets. And we were able to smell quite early that something is going on in the ceramic market. I mean, we were the first one together with Durst, together with a partner back there from Spain, to develop technology to decorate ceramic tiles. And this has been a huge success for us. Yeah. This is when we're one of the few companies having really a lot of installed single pass machines out there. So, there was like in the last group, everyone is single pass from the graphic printing industry. Yeah. We had there already way over 1,000 installations worldwide, and from Vietnam to let's say to southern Spain to Italy. So this helped us a lot to create a mindset where we said, okay, if we find an application which is not too small and not too big, we're in. Yeah. If it's big, everyone jumps. If it's too small, it's not going to pay. Yeah. It's not going to pay the effort we're putting in. Yeah. So this is how we structured it, and this is how we're going. Yeah.
And if you look at for example, when I just mentioned all these different applications that you support, is it, and maybe it's a stupid question, but then enlighten me anyway. I was just wondering, is the technology, let's say the base technology, is that the same, and then it's the ink and the machine, how the material is fed, is that the difference, or is it even groundbreaking differences in how that operates?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about the magic triangle and on two systems. I mean, you have a multi-pass system, you have a single-pass system, and from there you start to cluster the application. Then you need ink, you need chemistry, you need physics, speeds, and you need software. If you put all these together, you can try match applications. And it's no secret in the industry. You can see even a couple of guys who I would define as our competitors. They did the same thing. So once you really learn to build a single pass system which is 100% reliable, and in a heavy duty industry like ceramic tile, I mean, you have a big advantage to go to other fields and say, okay, I can apply part of the technology, but now I need to master my ink and my physics, because probably the resolution is higher and the ink is by way different, and then have drying technologies. So this is why we started to build pretty early our own development centers, which are not doing pure machine development, but they do ink development, they do electronic development. All our electronics are made by us. Most of the inks are formulated by us and scaled up with partners. So one thing leads to the next, and suddenly you're... And then again, you reconcentrate back because you cannot do 200,000 things.
Of course.
We're private. Public.
Yeah, and when you say electronics, is that everything from printheads to how the things are controlled and things like that, or what? Okay, so you do everything basically.
I mean, if I would say we do printheads out in industry, everyone knows we don't do printheads because printheads we have a couple of manufacturers worldwide. But from there, we do everything else. But we developed, which we introduced last year, a printhead, a kind of a printhead, which we call Rockjet, where we can print ceramic masses, so big stones, rocks, with high speed for ceramic application. This could be, you can define it as industrial 3D, and that's completely internally our own project, our own printhead. So yes, we do have experience with this.
Okay, and I was just wondering, because in these days everybody talks about inkjet, and I think that a lot of the brands like HP and Canon and Xerox and even Landau, I was just about to say, is having the high speed commercial print as an eye on that, because you can maybe replace some of the offset market for digital, and I know that you have initiated a collaboration with Koenig & Bauer. Is that part of getting into that product range, or does that have other reasons for entering into that relationship?
I mean, we have some experience. Again, I mean, we're in large format, we're in label, we're in industrial printing, we're in textile printing. There has been a lot internal push from my guys, I'm very needy guys, to go after more packaging markets. And I always said, listen, I mean, we're probably not big enough to do it alone, but if I find someone I really trust, then I promise you we're going to go together, and we're going to go together look after some applications in this. And exactly this happens. So I found someone who I trust.
And I have not, to be honest, I have not checked so much on that part of it, but do you have like working machines together with Koenig & Bauer now that is co-branded, or how far are you in that relationship?
We have solutions for the corrugated market already working and on sale. And I mean, as we're talking, a lot of them in production and on sale. We have two different solutions there. One is originated by us. The other one is originated by Koenig & Bauer. We're just putting together the horses. And we are obviously working to prime time at Drupa, some VariChat, which will now have to wait until Drupa again.
So does it mean that you will postpone also the announcements that you are doing, or does it mean that you will just announce them when the product is 100% fit for getting to market?
I mean, we're with the corrugated solutions. We are at the market. They are installed, so there we're going on. I mean, with all the issues. Dishes in this crisis. I mean, not having dishes on the machine, dishes in the crisis. How are you going to do a demonstration right now? You cannot fly people around.
No.
So with the virtual setups and everything. But that's going on. What we postponed a little bit definitely is the introduction of the next machine, which we said, okay, it's better we prime time at Drupa, because I cannot have full firepower here to work on it. So.
No. But and then from a business perspective, how do you think of the future? Is it a good future for Durst?
I mean, we are an 80-year-old family company, so we see things a little bit more relaxed than others. I mean, we have no
right?
to our money, so we made a couple of variations of how this thing could go, and there is no variation where we're gonna sell or close the company. So we think, even with this, when it will be over, we'll be even probably more successful than we are now.
I have talked to some of your colleagues in the industry. I spoke to both Mark Stevenson from Fujifilm, and I also spoke to Mark Hinter from Ricoh, and some of the, even from also with Michel Hunkler, and some of the recurring questions you always have in this crisis is, will things go back to normal after the crisis? And I think that, of course, nobody can predict anything about that one, but I think that a lot of companies might spend time on rethinking their business these days. Maybe not so, of course, also manufacturers, but the printing companies, your customers, and maybe this is a golden opportunity after the Corona crisis to really bring digital forward, right? Because I think there's a lot of changes, because I mean, as you do masks now for the corona crisis, I mean, with digital you can really change your setup very, very fast, and I think that must also be an inspiration for some of the prospects that you're talking to.
I think, I mean, every crisis is an opportunity, obviously, but that's. I don't want to give you the marketing talk now.
No.
This little mask project actually can help, and helps already a lot of my large format customers to really to be able still to work, to have some people in the shop and to do something which really makes sense.
Yeah.
We found through our labs, we found some filter elements which really are working. They're certified, so you can do really a PSA mask. It's not certified yet, but it's in certification. So this can help instead of installing a 200, 400,000 piece of equipment and produce masks that probably in 2 years no one will need anymore.
Yeah,
or hopefully.
I
I think, but this is beyond masks. There is a lot of opportunity in the market. First of all, what we learned that we can absolutely work from home.
Yeah.
So this is big news for us, because we were so centric. We have to say, no, we can work from home. And this means I have even more possibilities to add fast development power. And this is a good news for me, because I know by now my guys learned to work remote, so I can add, let's say, 100 developers from all over the world immediately to a project and get my scale up way faster.
Yeah.
That's for me the specific thing I've seen.
I think that when a lot of industry leaders are talking about digital transformation, it's also, I mean, we talk about it when we talk about how customers should do the digital transformation, but what you're talking about, that the digital transformation of Durst has made you very much more agile than maybe even some of your competitors, because you have, I mean, of course you haven't prepared for the coronavirus, but you have prepared for a future where you're not depending so much on being on location and being dependent on whether you live in Italy or in America or wherever you live. That must be a huge market advantage for you.
Yep, that's. I think for internally, that's a huge advantage. I mean, from the customer side, we're trying to help where we can. We're trying even to help them to do a kind of a transformation as well, because even if you have a shop and from the shop you go to the printer and then you put the file to the cutter. I mean, right now we're focusing really to help them with software solutions to make it more efficient, because with less people in the shop you have less problems, so you still distance things right. So we're really focusing to leverage whatever we know from the IT side, process side, to put this into innovation. And I have current calls with customers, how can you put it in? And so that's like where we're concentrating, because in this situation you're not going to sell new machines. Let's be honest.
No, and I think that I think it's also fair to have that respect that some people are in deep crisis, and it's maybe the money is spent on something that is more valuable from a family perspective and from a human perspective, rather than just investing in new equipment, but not saying that we shouldn't do it, of course, because I think that it's also a question of when getting back to a normal thing, and if they don't buy any machines from you are fortunate to have pockets that can pay your salary, so you can keep your staff safe and things like that. But at some point we need to get back to normal lives, and that is why I'm speculating from time to time, will the changes in the market, will that affect maybe a mantra where the shift may be easier go from analog to digital print, because maybe the mass customization and maybe the products down to one, and maybe all those things are changing dramatically because people have time to think about their own business in the future more now.
I think there may be a tendency, but I think one thing which I really hope as well, which will stay, is that the world is a little bit slower afterwards even.
Yeah.
Because, mass customization is a nice thing, but 7 collections of textile things through the year is not really sustainable. Honestly, even if against my interest, I do textile machines as well. Yeah. So yes, digital can help a little bit, but the right mindset can help a lot more. Yeah. So I think we're all together, from customer to us to consumer, if we are able to change a little bit the mindset, then we will be back better. I think, though, that some companies will not survive this, and it's unfortunate, but maybe necessary as well. There has been.
Are you talking about
some around in the industry?
Sorry, are you talking about printing companies or also vendors or both?
But both. I would estimate both.
Yeah,
I mean, a crisis like this is as well, as I said, it's unfortunate, but it's as well a cleaning air, probably through the market, what the market needs.
And basically that will end up maybe having a better situation for those who come through it without too many scratches, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think those who come through it without many scratches will definitely invest in technologies to get even better, to make it better for their people. And so this is a cycle, and I have to see it positive, and I see it positive because, you know, the only bad thing which can happen that the sky falls on your head or Corona, but
but you seems like a very positive and smiling person. So I guess that kind of attitude brings you far away down the positive road. Yeah. So a final round of question here, because we touched a little bit upon it, but the future for Durst, one thing is that you have the collaboration with Koenig & Bauer, and another thing that you have a strong market within the different segments that you're operating in. So where do you see the future for your own company, and where you think the future will be most interesting to look ahead for you?
I mean, we have a lot of talks about future within ourselves, but where we see each other in 10 years is where we have been 6 months ago. We are having a very, very strong company. I have a really extremely motivated workforce. We're doing what we really like to do. I couldn't wish for anything more. I mean, we're independent. We're big enough that we really can sustain each other. We're small enough that we don't have to play certain games. We have probably one of the most beautiful buildings from the outside and from the inside in industry. Yeah. And whenever you have time, please come have a drink in our bar.
Oh,
you will see what
I must say that when I saw your website with the Durst headquarters, first I thought that can't be. It must be some impression that is made for impression. But yeah, I guess that's that you see what you get, right?
You see what you get, and I mean, you have to see it from the inside. So what I can say is, despite all this Corona thing, which still leaves me positive, we're on a really, really good spot. We keep innovating. We want to keep developing. I want to have the most motivated people in the world around me. So I'm a happy camper. I mean, what shall I say?
Well, let that be the, or at least almost last words here, because Christoph, I really appreciate your time. It's great to understand that you're busy, though you're on reduced power right now and preparing for the time after. So thank you very much for your time here on INKISH over the Skype, and I really hope to come and see your company at some point, because that could be interesting. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, appreciate it, and yes, you have to come, and you're welcome anytime. Just let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks.